Thursday morning. Good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to another edition Gudday Grenada. I'm George Grant, and today happens to be the 13th day of the month of February. Nice looking morning here, very quiet looking out there over the harbor. Nice day. And I'm happy to see that you folks have chosen to be with us. Always so greatly appreciated. Now, let's take a look at the rundown, see where we go this morning. How many of you are tired of hearing about the coronavirus? Well, we have just a little update for you this morning, okay? It's a concerning update, but we're not going to run any videos pertaining to the virus or anything like that. Just an update. We're also going to take a look at the difference between wants and needs, especially in men and women. Interesting little video. I can guarantee you right now it's going to bring a smile to your face. I promise you. It will bring a smile to your face this morning. Now, then, we continue with our series, which has been garnering a lot of feedback. A black maker of history is about to appear on your screen in just a few minutes. And today, she is not just your basic black maker in history. She is an aerospace engineer and a space scientist. Who the heck is he talking about? You'll find out in just a wee bit. Thursday morning, we sort of juggle things around a little bit, and we're going to put Mr. Bierzynski in just before we get to the national report. So there you have it, my dear friends. That essentially is your rundown for the next 58 minutes or so, 57 plus minutes, okay? Now, health officials in China's hard-hit central province of Hubei, reported that 242 more people died from the coronavirus, now being called COVID-19. On Wednesday. This information came in just at about midnight last night. That's the highest in a single day, and more than twice the previous record high, which now pushes the death toll across the country, China, to above 1,300 persons. 1,300. The province's health commission also reported a huge jump in new cases, saying a further 14,840 people had been confirmed with the infection over the 24-hour period, which ended at, like I said, midnight last night, okay? Short and sweet, that's your update on the coronavirus this morning. Now, ever stop to think, what is it that men really need? And I said need, right? And what is it that women really need? I have another question for you. Are you aware that there is a difference between needs and wants? Ever stop to think about it? Pilgrims, here is a satirical look at possible answers to these questions. And I'm pretty darn sure there goes his earpiece again. This ear needs some crazy glue. I'm pretty darn sure this is going to bring a smile to your face.
Write it down. You need to know that. The number one need of a male is sex. I didn't say the number one need of a man. because the man is spirit. A man needs God. But the number one need of a male is sex. Why? Because the male is designed by God to be a progenerator. That means the male is always full of seed. His purpose in life is to provide seed. That's why every male right now is carrying 500 million sperms in his loins right now. He's a seed carrier. So his number one purpose in life is to provide the genes or the generations or the generations, the genes for the generations. So a male is designed by God to produce generations. That's why when God wanted to create a nation, he never went to a woman, he went to a man, because a man carries the generations. He said, Abraham, a nation shall come from you, and Sarah will incubate the nation. So the man needs sex. The man doesn't want sex, he needs sex. Say he needs it. Men don't want sex, they need sex. A need is something that helps you function. A car doesn't want gasoline, it needs gasoline. If you don't have gasoline in the car, it stops functioning. A need is not a want. Men do not want sex. They need sex. Don't look at me so funny, lady. Say hallelujah anyhow. I'm trying to give you some education so you don't get in trouble. Now, because a man, number one need is sex, because he's driven by the divine purpose to produce seed, that's why men have no cycles. A man have no menstruation cycle. He's always ready. All the time, every day, all day, anytime, anywhere. The guy's ready. All the men say, right on. Don't look so quiet on me now. Come on, brothers, help me out here. Help me out here now. So you see, a man ain't got to build up to sex. He's just ready. And he ain't got no cycle. So he's ready even when you are not ready. Creates a problem. Now, most women who are married, especially you Christian women, some of y'all think that your husband got a demon. What's wrong with you, man? You had it last night, this morning again? What's wrong with you? And yesterday you had it, day before. You're sick, man. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to take you to Pastor Matthew and cast out this nymphomaniac demon. You are full of the devil. And so you take your husband down to the office. You make an appointment to see Brother Matthew and say, Pastor, my husband have a demon. He's a nymphomaniac. He won't leave his hands off me. You got to pray for him. Cast the demon out. And Brother Matthew says, I got the same demon. Can I hear an amen, brothers? Come on, Brother Matthew, help me out here. Amen, brother. That ain't no demon. All the men say amen. All the men say leave the demon alone. Your husband is not sick. He's normal. And if anybody here want to be too spiritual, any brother want to be too spiritual, if you don't have this same desire, you need prayer. Now, the question is, why is a woman's need not sex? A woman's number one need is not sex. Now, she likes sex. Sex is good for a woman. And she enjoys it. But it's not her motivational need. A woman's number one need is not sex. Write it down. Her number one need is affection. Affection is not sex, brothers. As a matter of fact, sex is the result of affection to a woman. If you give her affection, you'll get your need met. Now, some of you ladies need some help. You go to bed in the night, you got on all this clothes, socks, long mitten dress, tam on your head, you got wrapped up all around your body. The guy got to fight to find something. I mean, you got to stop this. All the men are shouting now, boy. Ladies, you want to be a good wife? Make it easy. Go with nothing on. Say, good night, baby. Come on to bed.
Yeah. man is always ready. Let me see if there are any comments there to that one. Lydia James says, the pastor has it wrong. Women are always ready. We have nothing to get hard, so we're always ready, so says Lydia James. Good morning, Judy Benoit. Good to see you, girl. Hello there, Pele Darbo. Nice to see you. And Carlene Vespre, good morning, too. Anthony the Riggs, how you doing, bro? He says, keep positive in this world where so many strange things are happening. Absolutely. And Kipling saying good morning to you guys. John Franco says, hell, I need money, and God does not give it to me. Yeah, probably you're not asking with faith. You just say, hey, God, give me money. And he says, huh? Yeah, as you can tell, I'm reading backwards here this morning from the bottom up. Just let me go right to the top. Bernard Gilbert's the winner this morning. Congratulations, Bernard. Dan Theorillo saying howdy. John Franco, Peter Bishop, Lawrence Kruthoff, Ramon's also there this morning. Hazel Wilson is saying good morning from a rainy New Jersey. And Maria St. Bernard. And hello there, Auntie Max. Nice to see you guys this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, last Monday, I think it was, we began this series, Black Makers of History. And I'm really pleased with the response of you folks. You have shown your appreciation, expressed your appreciation to us. And I have been conveying as many of those as possible to Margaret. And this morning, we do have another one for you. Take a look.
Celebrating Black Makers of History.
Today's Black Maker of History is Dr. Camille Wardrop Allen. Dr. Camille Wardrop Allen has always loved space and planes, so it's not surprising that she landed a career in aeronautics and space science. Dr. Allen is an aerospace engineer and space scientist with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, in the United States. She was also a finalist in NASA's 2004 Astronaut Selection Program. As a student, this Trinidad and Tobago national excelled in math and science. In 1983, she left for the US, where she completed degrees in mechanical and aerospace engineering before pursuing a career in design and developing spacecraft and rocket systems. Today, Dr. Allen is one of the most recognized women in the field of aerospace engineering and one of a few Black women in senior technical management positions at NASA. She has served as Associate Program Scientist for the International Space Station and has had key roles in designing, developing, and testing space exploration vehicles for NASA's Constellation and Orion programs. Dr. Allen has also worked on ballistic missile projects, including the Aegis weapon system and ground-based mid-course interceptor for the U.S. Defense Department. Through her Brightest Star Foundation, Dr. Allen promotes science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education for girls in Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Celebrating Dr. Camille Wardrop Allen, space scientist and Caribbean science icon.
Thanks, Mags. And by the way, I'm sure that many of you recognize the voice doing that piece. I also want to say thank you very much to our good friend, Sharon Roberts. She's the person who did that piece. Now, did the audio on that piece. The thing was produced and scripted by Margaret. Now, I'm looking at Mr. Bierzynski here, and he is all saddled up this morning. He ain't wearing t-shirt, and he's not going to argue with me on this one. He's wearing a polo shirt this morning, a polo shirt. There he is. But we're going to take this break before we get to it.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling completely. So it's good to know I have Coop Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Inspection and licensing have begun, and at Hubbard's, we want you to be ready. From January to February 15th, we're offering vehicle owners with single registration letters 1 to 2,500 and plural registration letters 1 to 250, 10% off our new torque tires and Power Max batteries. Don't get caught unprepared. Visit us today at our motor department in Mungay or our tire bay in Grandance, located near Hubbard's Building Supplies.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice.
Renlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Well, folks, there he is, Mr. Bierzynski. Mr. Bierzynski is with us this morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm well. Sound is good.
Your sound is good. Your picture, I mean, just impeccable. By the way, come on. You're trying to play copycat with George Grant or what? What's with the polo shirt this morning?
Where I am 400 feet above sea level, it's actually rather chilly here this morning.
Oh, I see, yes, more je veux. Well, Mr. Bierzynski, I'm not going to waste any time because we've already taken 3 minutes of your time. Tell me, sir, what's up?
I was in the line at the bank yesterday, and I saw a gentleman who I know lives on a ridge overlooking the Lassages Bay. Mm-hmm. And I inquired of him as to how things were going with regard to the range development that is taking place. And he said to me that from his viewpoint, what was taking place appeared to be illegal because planning permission could not have been given for the destruction of wetlands. I said to him, well, I don't know how the planning authority works, but they certainly have been found wanting in recent times. And he promised that he would keep me updated regarding what he saw taking place. Last night on a radio program, I heard someone call in to state that it was perhaps instructive that the sod turning for that particular project, because rain fell, did not take place at the site of the development, but in fact took place at the Silver Sands Resort, which, by the way, as we all know, is on the site of a former wetlands area. I am also informed from people who visit the general location. I don't know that they could go inside because it's not for people like me. But apparently when it rains heavily, that calls are made to the powers that be to stop the rain. So I don't know if the investors thought that apart from allegedly circumventing the usual requirements for planning, that the powers that be can also circumvent the climate and prevent heavy rain from flooding their premises. But all of this is in keeping with our thrust for development. And I have recently seen in the Investment Migration Insider platform that 2019 was a record year for Grenada. Real estate outpaced donations for the first time in 4 years. The program raised 166 million EC dollars in 2019, and the upward trend was driven by a sharp uptick in real estate investments in the fourth quarter. And I don't pretend to understand where this money goes, but according to this, it says for 2019 as a whole, the program raised 72 million in real estate investments and 86 million in the National Transformation Fund option, and the government collected 8 million in fees. Out of 166 million, the government collected 8 million in fees. So, as I say, I don't really understand how this works. Perhaps the people who know more about it, for example, the former chairman found himself demoted to become CEO, and he has been receiving kudos over the fact that, I'll quote here, head of the Citizenship by Investment Unit since August, Percival Clouden is delivering on his promise to drastically increase the processing rate. While processing slowed to an alarming rate last August due to what observers have called a messy handover, Clouden quickly brought the unit up to speed after taking the helm. I don't know what constituted this messy handover, apart from the fact that the previous CEO, whom Mr. Clouden had to replace, apparently declined to renew his offer, his contract. It may have had something to do with what he found in regard to a shrimp farm project, where millions of dollars, instead of coming to Grenada, apparently went to the Far East. Now, that entire fiasco, we understand, is the subject of an inquiry. Of course, the minister responsible, the Minister of Finance, has not announced who has been appointed to lead this inquiry, so presumably the inquiry is taking place behind closed doors. Now, as I say, when we don't know, we can't speculate. It would be irresponsible of us. So that I have seen elsewhere that the range developer has been accused of pocketing a lot of money from the sale of passports in Dominica. So I don't know. It is people in Dominica who seem to think that a lot of millions of dollars are not being properly accounted for. But Dominica is one of my favorite places when it comes to reports of money not being properly accounted for. And I say this because in 2015, on Dominica News Outline, there's an article, April 10th, 2015, where Prime Minister Skerritt endorsed Baroness Patricia Scotland for the top Commonwealth position. And he made the point that CARICOM now had 3 nominees for the post of Commonwealth Secretary General. And in July of 2014, it apparently was agreed by CARICOM heads of government in Antigua that CARICOM would put forward 1 candidate for the position of Commonwealth Secretary General. Naturally, Antigua was putting forward their ambassador at large, Sir Ronald Sanders, who is a prominent supporter of Mr. Gaston Brown's party. So this happened that CARICOM couldn't agree on a single candidate because Prime Minister Skerritt was adamant that Dominica's nominee would be Baroness Patricia Scotland, and in fact, she became the Commonwealth Secretary General. I thought it was particularly in bad taste of her, as soon as she was appointed after the Heads of Government Conference in Malta in November 2015, to visit Dominica, where she appeared on a political platform on behalf of Prime Minister Skerritt, and was reported to have said to those opponents of Prime Minister Skerritt that, and she said it in patois, that they could sucer sel, which means they could suck salt. So I have not been impressed, despite her extensive and very respectable track record. She's a former Attorney General in the UK, member of the House of Lords and all of that. But I thought that was particularly gross on her part. And I know that she didn't grow up in Dominica. I think she left at the tender age of 10 or so. So for her to be speaking patois means that she must have been well coached. And not just that, but advising opponents of the Labour Party to suck salt was, I thought,
gross,
particularly not in keeping with her exalted position. But you can always, as they say, tell a lot about people by the company they keep. Because on the 12th of February 2020, headline news.
Yeah, we see you.
Could see it.
Yeah.
Right. So the British government is suspending its funding of the Commonwealth Secretariat, the BBC has learned. UK diplomats have told Lady Scotland, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, that Britain's annual 4.7 million voluntary contribution will be withheld until her Secretariat improves its financial procedures.
Yes, sir.
The decision came after Lady Scotland was criticized by auditors for circumventing usual competitive tendering rules when she awarded a lucrative consultancy contract to a company run by a friend. Mm-hmm. The auditors also discovered that procurement rules have been waived by the Secretariat on no fewer than 50 occasions over 3 years. I am really disappointed in Baroness Scotland, given her background and the fact that she seems to have absorbed the practices of prime ministers in Antigua, St. Kitts, Dominica, and I'll stop there. I don't want to come further south because I live here. But this idea that a person in such a position could even conceive of circumventing usual competitive tendering rules speaks volumes to the company she has been keeping. And I hope that when next the members of the Commonwealth meet to consider the automatic second term of office went up for renewal this year, that they will say no, because in my view, the lady has proven herself unfit for such high office. I believe that she is clearly for high office in Dominica, Antigua, St. Kitts, and I'll say in Grenada too. And I'm done.
This lady is unquestionably steeped in controversy. I saw the pieces you're talking about. That's one of the two things I wanted to mention, Alan. A few minutes ago, you also mentioned Dominica and what's been happening there with range. I think you have seen this piece because it was published on my WhatsApp forum. And
yeah, and as I said, because when I look
share
at
it.
the $8 million in fees that our government got last year out of 166 million, I can't speak to what the system is in Dominica, but I saw the piece and I'm going to leave it to the Dominicans to talk about that because I don't know.
Okay, so let me share the piece in questions, and I am hoping that tonight on Mech We Chat, this will be one of the topics discussed. This came from somebody in Dominica, and I quote, he says, Range Development walked away from the Cabrites project in Dominica with 60 million EC dollars after raising 185 million from the sale of 800 Dominican passports. The cost of construction was $53 million. The room occupancy of the Cabri Resort is only 33%. Asaria and Range have screwed Dominica and are now screwing Grenada. You were warned. But our islands are run by gangs who make these deals that enrich themselves and their criminal partners while using the people's money to fool the people. Caribbean unity? A farce, as we sit by and allow our people to be raped and robbed in the name of their own development. Truly, we deserve the leadership we select and are our own worst enemies. All of this is going on in the face of global challenges, climate change, and governance decay. Happy New Year, or is it screw year to all of us? That was the quote that Allan and I have been referring to. Okay, anything else, Mr. Bierzynski?
Only to say that not being a Dominican, I will not venture an opinion on
Right.
what was expressed.
Right.
But I can agree, based on the figures that referred to earlier, where the government got 8 million in fees out of reportedly 166 million collected. Well, I don't even know that it was collected because it says that some went into the National Transformation Fund and the other was real estate investment. But it needs to be pointed out that the issue of 33% occupancy is a matter for the Kempinski hotel chain. Range is only the developer. Range operates the scheme
Right.
where they will purchase the initial real estate free of all taxes and charges. And then they will produce a pretty brochure. For example, the one for the Range development at La Sagesse shows watercraft on an area which is currently a swamp. So they presumably have generated these images in order to sell the condominiums, hotel rooms, whatever it is that they plan to sell. This scheme is well established because they've moved from St. Kitts to Dominica and now to Grenada, the same Range developers. So it's interesting to me that whereas they got the Kempinski hotel chain in Dominica, they have Six Senses in Grenada. But at the end of the day, Six Senses is the brand that is being utilized in marketing this to rich people who can afford to part with 220,000 US or whatever it is to get a share of what is going to be constructed at some time in the future. So what we have to benefit from, according to what happened in the whole of 2019, is $8 million easy.
Benefit from. Have you heard anything else about the Liberar project, sir?
You mean the latest version of the Liberar project?
Yeah,
no,
please,
not
would
since,
you share?
Not since they took down the video from the website.
Okay, yeah. And then somebody we haven't talked about for a long time is one Mr. Liu, who was going to do something down at Mount Hartman. You remember that one?
He's not in jail?
Oh, he finally made it to higher quarters.
I don't know. I believe he's a fugitive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Mr.
I
Big.
mean, I would have thought that you might direct that query to
Mr.
a regular.
Baghdad Bob.
They might be in touch. I don't know.
Yeah, I highly doubt that. Amy, have you... I didn't mean to talk about Corona this morning, but you've been following what's happened? That death toll now 1,300 plus?
Yeah, but 1,300 out of 60,000. I mean, I find they're going good.
What figure would it have to arrive at before your ears cocked up?
The death rate from SARS was about 3%. So far, the death rate is 2.3% or something like that. So I guess based on past experience, that when it gets to 3%, then you begin to sit up and take more notice. But in the interim, I see that Vietnam has locked down some villages close to the border with China. And Cambodia has allowed some people in, I think it was off on a cruise ship or an airline, I'm not certain, after proper screening. So remember, outside of mainland China, I believe there have only been 3 deaths. So they are containing it. But what is unclear is how long this containment will have to last, because the global supply chains, which are predicated on just-in-time arrival of raw materials, has already been severely impacted. And there are factories which are closing. There are businesses which are, let us say, worried about where they're going to get their next supplies from. So I guess there is cause for concern, but clearly not for panic.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. I think, did you see the Prime Minister's address at the Independence celebration at Queen's Park, where he was admonishing the public for, I think the way Margaret put it is hysteria. You saw that?
I saw it reported on. I didn't see it live. And he has a point.
Yes.
But what I disagree with is the characterization of people who are worried as enemies or saboteurs. That doesn't make that doesn't sound right to me. But nevertheless, we know that our people love to spread Facebook and WhatsApp and whatever it is. The most recent of which I saw had to do with all of this being another plot to depopulate the developing regions of the world. And urging people to make sure that they have enough lime and garlic on hand.
Ah,
Well, I
you
don't
saw
have a
that
problem with homeopathic. I don't have a problem with homeopathic remedies, but to suggest that this is another plot to depopulate the developing regions, I think put it into context. The depopulation has taken place in China.
Okay. There's a comment here from Andrea St. Beamich. Says, does Lou still have a Grenadian passport? I don't know, Andrea. I don't know. Okay. Alan, I think that's going to do it for us this morning. And thank you for giving your... Well, he didn't give us time to the national report.
And let's make sure that Baroness Patricia Scotland does not get her contract renewed.
You know, I think like you, a lot of people are disappointed because I had some admiration for this lady, but the way things are going now, yeah, concerned.
It just goes to show, when you lie down with dogs, you must get up with fleas.
Yeah, and there's a very unflattering photograph of her which appeared in one of the British newspapers. It's a sort of portrait where it appears that she is sitting with her tongue out of her mouth. I sat and I looked at that last night and I thought, that's not very nice. But anyhow, it's up there.
Well, maybe it was taken when she was telling the Dominicans they could suck salt.
Okay, Mr. Bierzynski, sir, thank you very much. You have a good day.
All right. Bye.
All right. There he goes. Alan, thank you so much, my dear sir. Our time's now moved on to, let's see here, 9:42 and a half. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a little break, and then we shall return with the national report after this.
Located in the Grandand Shopping Center. For over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenada will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
with fuel prices changing all the time. How do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenelec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Caribbean Development Bank to use recently published methodology to determine vulnerability index of borrowing member countries. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, February 12th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, wants to use its recently published Multi-Dimensional Vulnerability Index to determine the level of vulnerability of its borrowing member countries in a global setting. The bank's Director of Economics, Dr. Justin Ram, says they calculated the index for their BMCs and, having received feedback on the methodology from international partners, the consensus is that the methodology is sound.
We now have a consensus that our methodology is sound, and what we want to do is to roll out this methodology to include more countries globally. In fact, the ambition is to actually have this multidimensional vulnerability index done for all countries of the world, so that then we can really see how our countries' vulnerabilities lie within a global context. Now, Dr. Smith mentioned we have coming up next month the beginning of our negotiations for the replenishment of our special development funds. And we do have a paper that we're taking to our board which seeks to identify a new approach to how our countries can access concessional resources utilizing the methodology of this vulnerability index.
CDB President Dr. Warren Smith says borrowing members with relatively high per capita income have limited access to concessional resources compared with the other member countries.
Our view is that that issue needs to be addressed. And we feel that you have to be able to make the case. You have to make the case in a credible manner, so that we feel that the issue of vulnerability to natural hazards is a very big part of that case, but it has to be evidence-based, so that the work that's being done on this vulnerability index, in my view, is a good step in that direction. So we're going to be having that conversation, as I say, next. We're going to start that conversation next month.
Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell has welcomed the start of work on the Six Senses Hotel project in Lassachess, St. David. Project developers Range Developments announced the start of construction last Thursday to coincide with Grenada's 46th anniversary of independence on February 7th. The 100-room luxury hotel is scheduled for completion by November 2022, and Dr. Mitchell is keen to see this accomplished given its potential impact on the rural economy. Dr. Mitchell said, and I quote, "This project will impact significantly on Grenada's rural economy, especially through the creation of jobs in both the construction phase and when the hotel begins operations," unquote. Managing Director of Range Developments, Mr. Mohammed Asaria, said the pace of progress on the project is indicative of the company's commitment to deliver in record time. Only 10 months have elapsed since the government of Grenada signed the agreement with Range Developments. Six Senses Lassachess is a project approved under Grenada's Citizenship by Investment program. Grenada's top reader, Melody Garrett of St. Rose SDA School, returned home on Wednesday after winning the OECS Courts Reading Competition title in St. Lucia on Tuesday. Melody stood up to her competitors from a number of other islands, including St. Lucia, which placed second, and Antigua and Barbuda, which placed third. We have a report by Annette Moore.
Congratulations, Melody! Courts OECS Reading Champion!
Melody Garrett, the 2020 winner of the 10th Courts OECS Reading Competition, returned today to warm greetings from a delegation of teachers and students from her school, the Court's marketing officer, DeLeon Walters, and other supporters who gathered to congratulate her. Her grade school teacher and coach, who have high expectations of her, praised her diligence and graceful demeanor as attributes that served her well during the competition.
Her behavior and her attitude add to what she has accomplished, all right? Because it's not only about talent, but it's also about having the good attitude and behavior to add with that talent, and therefore in the end she has demonstrated that she's a winner.
I was very impressed with the quality of reading that was displayed by all the students and the organizers of the event. Hats off to them. From the district level, I was really confident. I just knew she would have won the overall competition. There is something very special about Melody that, draws everybody to her. She's a very humble child, and she does her best in everything that she put her mind to. She gives it her all, and that's what stood out for her, and she was able to come out the champion in that competition. Everybody is super excited. We couldn't contain ourselves today. We had to come down here. We had to come and welcome Melody back home because it's a big win, not just for Grenada, but for our school, being a school in the village. We were very, very, very excited to be here to share in that moment with Melody.
Some of Melody's classmates also shared their opinion.
Yeah, I was expecting for her to win, and if she don't come any other position, I'll just be happy for her as a friend.
Somebody tell me about it and I feel happy because I was like, oh, Melody is so awesome.
Melody says she wasn't nervous and was prepared to do her best, having worked on her weaker areas leading up to the regional final.
My name is Melody Garrett. I attend school at the Montrose SDA Primary School, and I just won the Courts OECS reading competition. My friends and my teachers, I knew they were praying for me, so I wasn't scared because I knew if they were praying for me, God would be with me and I would have nothing to fear. If you work hard and you put your mind to what you want to do, you will succeed. After I did the finals in St. George's, I went to a radio station in Surtees and I practiced with a man that used to be reading a lot, and I worked a lot on my endings and my TH and the pronunciation of my words, and I think that's what I improved on.
Melody has also made new friends and thinks St. Lucia reminds her a lot of Grenada.
I made some friends and our parents exchanged numbers, so we will be talking. And what I liked about talking to them was that when I was talking to them, we were talking to each other about our countries, and after a while we didn't want to compete against each other because we were such good friends.
Melody says she's grateful to her parents, school and community for the role they all played in helping her to succeed. Courts Reading Competition Coordinator in Grenada and Activities Coordinator at the Ministry of Education, Yolande Bridgman-Lewis, noted that Melody was clearly in the lead.
The other participants was no match for Melody. She did very well. In fact, the difference between first place and second place was like 22 points. All right, so she was leading, you know, and there was no question about Melody winning the competition. In fact, she won both rounds of the competition. She won the narrative round as well as the news item.
Melody's mom, Misty Garrett, is very pleased, and she tells us what makes Melody such a special child and some of her parenting secrets.
It's a good feeling to know that, you know, the things that you taught her, she went out there and did it. And it was just a happy feeling. I taught her that it's okay when you're taking part, that despite you did not win, you did your best, and that's good. There are children who would be able to do some things academically. You support them. If it's a skill, you support them as well, because despite what, this child will be making you proud in any field that they go out to. So we just have to support them and continue praying for them.
As part of her prize package, Melody receives the champion trophy, EC $5,000, a laptop, a smartphone, books, and other items. She previously won EC 1500 at the local competition and 1000 for her school. It is not surprising that Melody has listed books as being at the top of her shopping list.
In the news this afternoon, girls in ICT. The Department of Education, Innovation and Gender Relations, along with regional and international counterparts, will be holding a 3-day symposium which will open the doors to numerous careers. The symposium will give the participants, especially vulnerable girls and women, the opportunity to participate in hands-on training.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
This is the National Reports. More news after the break.
Kayak Mass 2020. February 15th to February 25th. An array of events making one spectacular carnival. Saturday, February 15th. Children Mass, Frolic, and the Big Show. Thursday, February 20th. Queen Show Night. February 21st. Soca Monarch. Saturday, 22nd. Jab Convention. Calypso and Groovy. Sunday, February 23rd. Monday, Juve and Monday Night Mass. Tuesday, February 25th. Shakespeare Mass. And the Last Lap. All the major MCs and DJs will be inside Kayak Mass 2020. Make reservations and book now.
Rural farmers are being encouraged to practice climate-smart agriculture given challenges experienced as a result of reduced precipitation and increasing temperatures, which can impact the levels of water that is available. Through 2 pilot projects which are being undertaken by GRENADA, through support from the Food and Agriculture Organization and the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, a number of farmers will find it easier to store and collect water that they can use on their farms. The special commissioning ceremony was held for the 2 pilot projects this week. We get more in this report from Mina Booker.
Realizing that water stress is one of the greatest challenges for our rural farmers, the Grenada Community Development Agency GRENADA, through 2 pilot programs backed by funding from the Food and Agricultural Organization, or FAO, and support from the Ministry of Agriculture, made it possible for 6 rural farmers to receive systems that can improve water access, storage, and increase nutrient value of their soils. All 6 farmers received their storage tanks, among other equipment, to undergo composting and rainwater harvesting at their farms last October. They have now moved into full implementation of the structures, which were officially commissioned on Monday, 10th February. Prior to the special commissioning ceremony, a team from GRENADA, FAO, along with the Ministry of Agriculture's PR unit, visited farms where equipment have been installed in Florida, Victoria, La Fortune, Madaise, and Snell Hall. Benny Langine, Deputy General Secretary for GRENADA, welcomes coordinating and collaborating with the FAO on another instance to provide assistance to rural farmers. According to him, this project helps farmers to take a cleaner approach to farming.
We are glad that these tanks, with a capacity of 800 gallons each, could be up, and we see that farmers have in fact not just sat back, arms folded, and received that support, but in fact have embraced it and have added to it. all right? Added to it by investing in lines, all right, drip lines and irrigation systems and so on, connected to the tanks and so on, so it can, take care of, water the plants and the crops and so on. The composting too, we believe, is very, very important and has a lot of benefit for the farmers. It reduces the cost of very expensive fertilizer, and it is something that is more friendly, more eco-friendly and so on. So they have all to gain from it, so that they can plant, watch the crops grow, produce and so on, without, in a sense, wreaking havoc on the earth.
Now that they have moved into full implementation of the attributes at their farm, the farmers indicated ways that they continue to benefit.
Tanks in place, compost in place, it's just wonderful. Whenever it's dry, the ground will crack up like, So now that we have the tanks, it will be better because the earth will remain moist, so then we can get whatever, we plant whatever.
Livera is a dry forest area, and in the dry time it's really dry. Livera is one of the 3 biggest concentrations of dry forest in Grenada, Perseverance and down in the south being the other instances. And our farmers in this area are seasonal farmers, because we have to operate when the rain is falling, and when it's dry, it's really dry, as I said before. So we are extremely grateful to GRENADA for giving us the opportunity to have this water harvesting structures. What it does for us is allow us to operate in a non-traditional time for us. So whereas we would have to be packing in our tools at this time of year, some of us are in preparation for going into another cycle of crops. So we are really grateful for that. The composting component of it allows us to benefit, to conserve water, because the compost would help keep moisture at the stool of the plant. And it also aids us in making our contribution towards feeding the nation healthier.
Well, I'm grateful for that tank, and I know you will benefit me so long as the rain falling. If the rain don't fall, I won't get water. And then you would help me to go a long way by using some drip lines.
Consultant for the Food and Agricultural Organization's Regional Office, Ms. Kelly Walcott, says she's pleased with the implementation process of this project.
On behalf of FAO, I just want to thank all of you, especially the farmers, for partaking in these pilots. I learned a lot today. The pilots are amazing, and what your benefits are, I can see firsthand, and everything was perfect in my opinion. What I saw. I am thankful for your perseverance and your patience, and it was really good.
Permanent Secretary within the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Mr. Elvis Moraine, urged the recipients to care and make best use of their facilities.
We have learned from the experiences of these farmers. So critical is for you to appreciate the investment that has been placed at your feet. Appreciate it. And I say the best way to return thanks to GRENADA, FAO, the ministry, and yourselves is to continue to take good care and put the facility into best use. Put it into best use. I want you to recognize that what you do is an investment.
The ministry held the hands of GRENADA by assisting with the procurement of materials and providing technical support to farmers and officers attached to the program. Water plays an important role in ensuring food and nutrition security for all, as it helps provide high-quality food and can lead to healthier lives. Now that the farmers have implemented their systems, it means that they can benefit from reduced cost of water and increased production due to access to water. For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Mina Booker.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
one more for the road. Look, I find you had a little too much to drink, you know. Let me drive. Nah, man, I good.
Alcohol causes drowsiness, slow response time, distorted vision, impaired decision-making, blackouts, decreased coordination. Drinking water does not make you less drunk. Never drink and drive. It takes only a second.
Look, I'm really, really sorry.
Sorry? Sorry can't bring back my sister. You've been drinking. I can smell it. Why?
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Grenada, 1795. One man with a sense of destiny.
Tonight we stand our ground. Tonight we stand on the side of history.
14,000 slaves with a dream and a promise. Julian Fedor, a Heritage Theatre production, written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, 28th and 29th March, 4th and 5th April at the Trade Center.
People was not made to live like this. It's like we have a cause.
Julian Fedor, an action-packed historical drama.
I see blood falling from the sky, filling up that mountain river, flowing from Belvedere Hills. I see blood.
4 big nights of theater, the play the nation has been waiting to see, with Samuel Gilvey, Lisa Grappy James, Robert White, Dale Devine, and other top-of-the-line acting talents. Opening Saturday, 28th March. Get your tickets now. Grenada.
All right, folks, on that note, we're going to pull the curtain down on the Thursday edition. Can you believe it? Another weekend coming up. Thursday edition of Gudday Grenada. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we do have a parting word for you. And this one comes from one of my favorite Psalms in the Holy Scriptures, Psalm 37, verses 1 to 11. Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. Pilgrims, Psalm 37, verses 1 to 11. On that note, my dear friends, that's where we're going to pull the curtain down this morning. Thank you so much, as always. And again, invitation to join us tomorrow morning. I hope Brian's going to be with us tomorrow morning. And I know that Mag's will, with her another in her series, Makers of History. My dear friends, until we meet again, by His grace, tomorrow, may the good Lord bless and keep you safe.